Hello, hello, hello. This is Dr. Ericka. I can't even say my name today. And welcome to Growth Groove with Dr. Ericka. Full disclosure in the realm of all kinds of comedy. And I'm so excited because she made it. Is that my mom's power went out, which meant her electricity went out right before we were supposed to start the show with her as my special guest star. So guess what? We've got my mom.
Hi. Yep, everything's back now.
So yay. So welcome everybody. I'm so happy to be here with you tonight. I want to do a little bit of housekeeping and then we're going to get straight into our evening. And guess what? I'm not going to keep you here forever, but I'm going to make sure that we have a really great time. And I'm honored to be able to share the woman that has given me so much wisdom. I decided I would not hoard all the wisdom to myself and I would share it with my peeps. So I'm here to share all of this wisdom with you that I get to get every day. And there was no way I could celebrate Women's History Month without bringing on my absolute favorite woman in the world, which is my mom. So before we do her full introduction, let me just do a little bit of housekeeping. So the first part of housekeeping is to, if you know someone that needs this, please share. Sharing is caring. The next thing, if you know someone that needs this, tag them. Just hit tag. The last thing is if you're watching it later, don't even worry about it. Put hashtag replay in the comments. I will love to see you as you come in. Just let me know how you're doing. I'd love to know where you're listening in from. So I am your host, Dr. Ericka, Harvard-trained, double board certified psychiatrist and integrative lifestyle coach. I'm extremely passionate about helping people be better so they could do better and ultimately live better. I do that through my adult telepsychiatry, my books including Fix Your Fairy Tale, A Woman's Guide to a Great Life, Love, and Legacy, along with my speaking. My superpower, my mom might say I have some other ones, but the one I'm talking about right this moment is that I make mental health practical. And I do that to help you claim that life that you have always deserved, that life that you were actually created for. Because who doesn't want to have that life? So the topic tonight is Women's History Month, lessons from a mother to her daughter. And I guess you figured out she's the mother, I'm the daughter. So this is my mom. Her name is Leela Goodwin, but that does not tell you everything about her. She is phenomenal. If you looked up mom in the dictionary, it would be a picture of her because she's just such a great mom. She's always had my back. She's always been 100% team Dr. Ericka. She's brilliant. She's smart. She's innovative. I feel like there's almost no problem that she can't solve or fix. Welcome, my mom. I'm pointing the wrong direction.
I don't know what to say after that intro. So what would you like for me to say?
Tell the people hello.
I said hello. Hello, everybody. I'm Dr. Ericka's mom.
Is there anything you want to tell them beyond what I told them?
No.
All right. So we are in the midst of Women's History Month, which is so exciting. And it's even more exciting because it came right after Black History Month. So I get all the histories together. And it's a time to really spotlight the contribution that women make to the society. And just as I often say Black history, that it's more than a month, it's every day. American history is Black history, that women are an integral part of the history of this country and the world. So I'm so proud to be able to bring on my mother because she's taught me so many wonderful lessons that I wanted to share some of them with you, especially so that we can have some open, honest conversations around things that help empower women and ways we can problem solve around some of the issues that a lot of us share, no matter how we do the woman thing, so that we can all move forward together. So the first thing I'd like to ask you about is, for all of y'all out there, you may not know because my mother is so brilliant. She's so smart. She's done so many things that one of the things she did was she was actually a homemaker. And I know a lot of my contemporaries, a lot of us have way too many degrees, went to school way too long. Didn't make me any smarter than my mom. I just went to school longer. What is something that inspired you to become a homemaker? And can you tell the people what exactly a homemaker is? Because some people, I think what they think a homemaker is and what a homemaker does isn't the same.
Well, my definition of a homemaker is not today's stay at home mom. My definition of a homemaker is taking care of your home and your family. That's your job. And when I was raising Dr. Ericka, everybody had a job. Her dad's job was to go to work and support the family. Her job was to go to school and do the best she could. And my job was everything else. So, homemakers all around everything.
That's everything else was a lot of things. I will testify it was a lot of things. And what do you think lit the fire underneath you? Because one of the things I remember a lot growing up, my mother was a homemaker. So she did all the things from managing everything in the house, managing the money, hard starting better than the clinic. I mean, than the cleaners, getting me everywhere, just doing literally all the things. But on top of that, she also had this entrepreneurial spirit, and periodically she'd be running small businesses out of the home or even outside the home. What do you think lit that entrepreneurial spirit for you?
Unfortunately, I think it was partly my lack of focus. I have a short attention span, so I was always off to another project. So it was like running the home, but at the same time doing other things so that I didn't lose me in that process.
So now what inspired you to end up rejoining corporate America?
Divorce and need to work, support myself.
Where the money resides.
Say bills. I mean, that's the honest answer.
You know, and I think that's important, is that we always have all these conversations around, and it's a big thing now that we're all talking about living your purpose, doing your passion. And there's always this balance between how to make your passion and purpose align with what will take care of your basic needs, because we all still have bills and responsibilities, and making sure that these align so that in the ideal world, your passion and your purpose align to something that you can actually also make money with. But there are times where that's not where the journey is, and we're just trying to be where the money resides.
Mm-hmm.
Just saying. So you're blessed enough that my mother is, I'm just going to tell something on her. She is like Rain Man when it comes to making a dollar out of 15 cents. Like, my mother is phenomenal.
Where'd you go? Lost you.
Well, apparently the internet gremlins are alive.
Yes, like where'd she go?
I got kicked out of the room. So what I was saying is that my mom has always done wonderfully when it comes to managing money, making money work, which put her in a position where even though she was a homemaker for all of my childhood, she was still able to retire. So what is it like being a retired woman?
It is wonderful to not. There are days when it's like you get tired of not having I won't say not having anything to do, but not having anywhere to have to be because you've done that for so long. But every time the thought of getting a job comes to mind, it doesn't stay there very long because I think about the fact that somebody's going to want me to be there on time every day and stay there all day. And I don't have to do any of that anymore. So retirement's wonderful, for me. I'm luckier than a lot of people, and I consider myself blessed that I don't have to live my life from a position of scarcity. Mm-hmm. That I was lucky enough to have been able to come along during a time when if you were into investing, your investments made money that is still around.
Mm-hmm. I love the sound of that. I ain't mad. I'm not mad at all. So I think I'd say my next question is so we made it you somehow were able to still retire. And I know you've worn, as they say, a lot of hats. And the definition and just how we all look at what womanhood varies so much to each person. What does it mean to you to be a woman?
Well, growing up as a little kid, you're taught that you can be anything and do anything. Then as you grow up, society doesn't reflect that. It puts women in these boxes where you have to make choices, and it's almost like you can either follow your passion or you can have a family. But you really I couldn't do both the way I wanted to do them. I won't say you couldn't do both, but I couldn't do them the way I wanted to do them. What was that question? I told you my attention span's short.
I to be a woman, and I think that's what a lot of women struggle with. Because I'll give an example of, I remember going to all of these psychiatric or doctors women's groups, and it was always interesting because if you were single or didn't have children, it was kind of like people kind of gave you the stiff arm, like you really don't have anything to say. If you weren't an academic and you weren't a mom and you weren't a wife, you just didn't add value. And I think what's beautiful about a lot of the conversations people are starting to have now is it opens that full range space for a broader and almost like a tapestry of experiences of womanhood, because being a mom is phenomenal. I have to say my mother,
It's hard work.
my mother did it, but there's more than a person that's not a mom isn't less than a woman because they are a mom, or someone that's not a wife isn't less. And I love the fact that we're starting to make more space for these varied experiences, because like some of my best friends, none of us have children. We don't plan on having children. And there was a time where you couldn't almost say that out loud without people looking at you like, because you weren't going to have kids. And I love the idea that there's space for that. But I do think there's a lot of space for us all to continue to explore. How can we find ways to balance passion, purpose, and all the things we want? We may not be able to have all of them. I'm also a believer. I remember reading this book by Veronica Chambers, Having It All, and there have been so many books titled Having It All, is that it's difficult to truly have it all. You have to kind of pick and choose or define what all is, and all literally can't be a lot of times all of the things. And I love the fact that now we're having space to start having these conversations around how can you claim your passion and your purpose in a way that you can still have some of those other things you desire. So it's not these huge, hard choices that historically we've had to make. So some of it is the choices, some of it is being able to find creative solutions where it might not be all of the things, but you can at least have the things that will matter to you and bring you joy. That's my take.
Being a parent is difficult at best. And when it's possible for you to try to have it all, but what tends to happen is, as a woman, you tend to burn out. This is not an indictment of men, but they tend to come home from work and eat dinner and watch television. Even if you don't have virtual school, you've got little kiddos that have homework to do. You've got to get their clothes ready for the next day. You've got to get them bathed and in bed. Then you've still got other stuff you have to do. And I was an old school mom, so I ironed clothes. So oftentimes I'd have to iron shirts because I wanted my husband to look a certain way when he went to work, because I was raised that how a man looked when he left the house was a direct reflection on his wife. So I mean, there's a lot of those old school norms that have gone out the door, but when I was coming along, that's just the way it was.
Mm-hmm.
So anybody that thinks having a career, having a family even if you're married and don't have children, that's not an easy job for women.
So we've been talking about how it's not necessarily easy. What are some of the things you've learned along the way from your journey of being homemaker, wife, mom, everyone under the same house, to being an empty nester and still being vibrant and doing things? What have you learned as far as some strategies that you feel like have been helpful when it comes to balancing taking care of yourself versus taking care of the world?
Well, and you hit the nail on the head, taking care of yourself. It's, as women, we tend to put ourselves last. And what tends to happen is eventually your body's going to get broke down, and then you're not even good to anybody else. So we have to be mindful of doing self-care. And sometimes self-care might only mean get you a chair and go sit out on the porch by yourself, where there's nobody asking you for anything or the need to do anything. You know, self-care to everybody means something different. Sometimes for me, self-care is I like to go stumble around in craft stores. I could be there all day. You know, I can spend hours in Michael's. I can spend hours in Joann's, but crafts are my thing.
Now, I've never actually asked you this. Were there ever any times you hid from me to get your alone time?
Yes. No, not really. Because this is I don't want to sound like a tyrant, but you had structure in your life and you had a certain time you had to go to bed. You know, as a little kid, you weren't up till 9 or 10 o'clock at night. You know, probably when you were in kindergarten, the latest you were ever up was 8 o'clock. I mean, it's still light outside, you're in bed. And that's how you manage your time. So then I could have a few minutes that I was away from you. But, you know, you were an ideal kid that didn't need to be with me.
Oh, I feel all the love.
Well, and two, then you spent a lot of time with your grandmother. So when mom would travel, you were her travel companion. So I had some time when you'd just be gone because you all would be off to California or to Florida or wherever my younger sister was living, you know.
So I'm going to warn everybody, we're at the speed round.
Uh-oh.
You ready, Mom?
Okay.
You've got this. You got this, Mom. You're rocking. So what is the best lesson that you learned from your mom?
To be truthful and have integrity.
Okay. And what is one piece of advice you'd like to give to your younger self?
To never give so much of yourself that you lose yourself, or let other people control your life to where you lose yourself.
Can I just I feel like that was a word. That was a word. Yeah, because I think it's huge. There's so much busyness in adulting, which y'all never told us how much work it went into adulting. That it's so easy, especially as a woman, to lose yourself in everything, or to lose yourself in what everyone's telling you should be doing or who you are.
Well, you wake up one day and your self-esteem is gone. And you weren't even aware that you were losing it. So to be mindful of that, and never lose yourself.
I love it. So what is one of your favorite gifts to yourself? It could be small, it could be big. It could be
my truck.
Now for y'all, my mother has talked about this truck like a dog. She really has. Like, I miss my Murano.
Well, I did like my Murano better, but it was a truck too. But my trucks.
Okay. So you have a day off, which you have actually because you retired. What are you looking forward to doing on your day off?
Craft shopping.
Oh, this is I'm so amused. I'm so amused. Okay. Um, what's one thing that you do if someone either disrespects you or underestimates you?
It depends on to what extent that happens. Um, there are there are ways to correct people without it becoming adversarial. It's like I'm not one to be pushed around. I'm I can be pretty easygoing, but
This from the lady that has made car salesman cry.
I did not make him cry. He just teared up.
Yeah. So, and the last one is, what is your superpower? You have lots of them, so you can just pick one.
The one I'll pick, and it's probably the one that you talk about the most, is for whatever reason, and I don't know at what point I developed the talent, but to have conversations with people to get them to do the things that I want them to do and have them think it was their idea. That's my superpower.
Yes, yeah, I am her Manchurian candidate. Apparently, I did everything she told me that she wanted me to do and let me think it was my idea. I thought I decided to go to Spelman. I thought I decided to be a doctor.
You had proper guidance. That's all. That's all.
So, do you have any final thoughts, takeaways, or messages you want to give the people out in the interwebs?
Well, just enjoy life. Take care of yourself, because if you take care of yourself, then you have something to give to other people.
Oh, I love it. I love it. It's a theme on, I think Lisa Nichols says it now, the whole world says it about serving people from your overflow. So making sure that your cup stays full. I love that. That's one of my favorites. I think it's so critical because a lot of times we're just running around on E and then trying to take care of people.
And that's been me most of my life. But I'm learning.
I'm so proud of you. So everyone, thank you all so much for coming. I couldn't let Women's History Month go by without spotlighting my favorite woman, my mom, my personal superstar. I promise I don't have COVID. My throat's just dry. I'm all vaccinated for real, y'all.
And my shots.
I know.
1 and 2.
We are fully vaccinated on the screen right here. So if I had to say, what are my parting words? One is that just make sure that each day there's at least one thing to be grateful for and to hold on to the little moments. I was listening to a podcast the other day and someone was mentioning that when people felt like they were in situations where they might potentially die, what flashed across their mind weren't these huge, big moments. It was all these little, small moments. So most of us, even in the middle of stress or chaos, have these small little pockets of joy or pockets of satisfaction. And it's just to hold on to the little ones. Don't let the little ones go by and not notice them. So that's what I got for you. So I want to say thank you all so much for quality time. Again, if you know someone that needs this, tag them. You can also share. And if you're watching it later, #replay. And you can always rewind it and watch from the beginning. I'm very thankful that you have chosen to spend some time with me. Again, I am your host, Dr. Ericka, Harvard-trained psychiatrist and integrative lifestyle coach. I'm just extremely passionate about helping people be better so they could do better and ultimately live better. I do that through my telepsychiatry practice, my books, and my speaking. One of my superpowers is making mental health practical, and I do that so that you can get that life that you are actually created for. I'm looking forward to seeing you tomorrow. Tomorrow, we're going to be talking about 5 ways to manage anxiety, and it seems like the whole world is anxious right now, so you don't want to miss that. I'll be on at 7. You have your usual prescription. Call at least one person and tell them that you love them. Can you do that for me? The last thing is, as you know, the COVID is still out there. It is still out there. I feel like my mother just looked for the COVID. And since I know.
I don't know why I looked at the clock. You said I'll be on at 7, and I went, wait a minute.
And see, I said you were
Six
looking
Central. 6 Central time.
I know. And I just want you to know to still continue to wear your mask, stay at least 6 feet apart, don't be gathering in large groups, wash your hands, all the same stuff we've been doing, because my wish for you and my wish for all of us is that 1 or 2 years from now, we're sitting up drinking cocoa, tea, coffee, whatever, having conversations about how life was during this season. So I want us all to make it through this season so we can reflect on it in the future. So that's what I got for you tonight. I have a little free something for you. So you can, if you've been feeling overwhelmed or stressed out or anxious, you can go to overwhelmblueprint.com, scrolling below you, and download my free ebook. It's going to give you some real-time practical solutions. But I'm going to let you go because I said I'm not keeping you here forever. Thank you so much for coming, Mom.
Bye.
Take care, y'all.